knowing what is possible, knowing how powerful the mind really can be. This was a conversation that I had had with someone else who had ankylosing spondylitis, and they were diagnosed. And I said, "Well, what are you doing to manage that?" And they said that I'm just managing it with my mind. I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" They said, "You'll figure it out." And it was just that planting of an idea that sent me down a journey to reconnect with myself in a way that I had not connected before. I had been trying since being diagnosed back in 2010 to do everything possible to come off of Humira or Enbrel. And tried, failed, tried, failed, tried, failed. Um, it's funny how the context of time will let you see things through a different lens. Because I want to say it was maybe around 2014, 2015, I came across the work of Wim Hof and doing the breathing and the cold therapy. But I was like, that's not for me. I'm not, can't do that. And then about 18 months ago, I rediscovered it and I said, I can do that. And I started to look into the science behind it and being a little bit more open to gain a new perspective and to explore what is possible. And so starting with the breathing methodologies and the cold therapy, I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my rheumatologist. I said, let me just see what happens, how
Right.
this
Yeah.
plays out. And sure enough, about 6 months in, I told my wife what was going on. I told my rheumatologist, and my rheumatologist was like, I support you 100%. I said, well, thank you for that. She said, but please don't stop coming to see me because I still want to track and measure and monitor. I said, no, I said, I'm going to track because I need to know what's going on the inside. I need the markers of
Yeah.
inflammation in the body. But I really look at that relationship as such a collaboration. And I've been working with her since I was diagnosed 14 years ago.
Sheesh. Well, and you've got really open-minded doctors. I mean, it's great to have a team like that. And so the big thing, I mean, maybe you could talk about some of the worst symptoms of having AK or ankylosing spondylitis.
Yeah. Well, if we go back, uh, I would say my early 20s, I was just getting these random and weird inflammations. Woke up, early marriage, and I had a sausage digit. My finger had, exploded like 3 or 4 times. I was like, that's really weird. Like, what's going on with that? Knee would swell, lower back pain. And then in 2008, I woke up one morning, could not see out of my right eye. Uh, Iritis just literally hit me so hard. The pain was incredible, the light sensitivity, but the inflammation had clouded my vision. I went to go see my optometrist, and he had asked me, he goes, have you ever been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition? I said, no. He said, do you have lower back pain? I said, all the time. And I had just said, well, I played basketball, played sports, was, athletic and whatnot, and left it alone. Pain continued to increase, but it was almost like a frog in a boiling pot of water. The
Mm,
pain came on so slowly that I was continuously adjusting to it.
yeah.
But then I was also starting to look for ways to compensate for the pain, fell into some addictive patterns, started to go into myself. And it was around January. I went and saw my GP December of 2009, got a call in January of 2010, 5 months before my first child was born. And he said, you have ankylosing spondylitis because I tested positive for HLB27, the
Wow.
gene marker. And he said about 95% of people who have this gene will end up developing ankylosing spondylitis. And I just went into about 2 years of depression at that point because I was 28 years old.
Mm,
And first thing I did is I Googled ankylosing spondylitis and I saw the pictures
yeah.
of people with hunchback, immobility. And I was like, I don't want that. And I crashed. Dark night of the soul,
Wow.
depression, addiction, almost lost my marriage because of it. And I'm grateful for my wife for sticking by my side through all of that because honestly, like she is such a she is my helpful and I say sometimes empathetic guide because sometimes she's not so empathetic and I need that hard truth. But that's the long story short of just the pain, I guess you could say.
Sheesh. And you made the radical transformation just by adding lifestyle things. I'm a big Wim Hof fan too. I was doing the ice baths and the breathing before it was cool. Now everybody's doing it's like kind of like, would you do the smart ice bath? Wim Hof breathing. But you and I are old school. Got into it early on.
Yeah. And I would say looking back on this entire experience, I'm nothing but grateful. And I say that because I don't think I would be where I'm at had I not been diagnosed with this condition. Because this condition has almost forced me to put my physical health and my mental health at the forefront of everything that I do. My parents, for example, are part of the 70+% of people that are obese or overweight.
Hmm.
Uh, and so my quote unquote genetic line is like, I don't want to be like that when I grow up. And so once I got out of those 2 years of depression, the physical aspect of it, the physical fitness, and I've always been physically active, but I took that to a whole new level. Like, I'm not going to let this condition define who I am. I'm going to define what this condition means to me.
Um,
And so I started running. I got into marathons, I've run a couple marathons, run multiple half marathons. I've got this big goal of doing a half Ironman one day. But my wife was like, okay, you got to cut off, you got to slow down on that marathon running. Cause at that point we had 4 kids and they were all very young and the time commitment was just very intense. So I said, okay, I'm going to pull that back and then got into weights and lifting. And so it's been a wonderful, beautiful journey. In hindsight,